Now on to round 2.
In Surah 5, the Quran doesn't only confirm the Torah and Gospel. It tells Jews and Christians to judge by what God gave them. If those documents are substantially corrupted, meaning key stories and core rulings in them are wrong, then God is sending people to a damaged text and calling its contents his own ruling. That's not an imperfect container, that's a false label. If the Torah is substantially corrupted, God isn't directing people to a flawed resource. He's putting his own name on someone else's errors, and it calls what's in the Torah Hukm Allah, or God's ruling, referring to documents real people actually hold in their hands. So what kind of endorsement is that?
Read Surah 543 in its actual context. Jews have come to Muhammad seeking a legal ruling in a real dispute. Classical commentators identify a specific case involving the penalty for adultery. God's response is, how can they come to you for judgment when they have the Torah, in which is God's ruling? The key word here is hukm, meaning legal judgment. That same legal focus continues through verse 47. Let the people of the gospel judge by what God has sent down in it. Scholar Holger Zelentin argues, Surah 5 reads like a constitutional framework for a multi-faith society. Each community is accountable to its own revealed law. The Quran isn't saying your theology is perfectly preserved. It's saying you claim this law is from God, so live by it. And verse 48 adds the capstone. The Quran was sent confirming what came before it, and as a muhaymin over it, meaning a guardian and final standard over all earlier scriptures. So Surah 5's logic is simple. Step 1. Hold each community to its own inherited law. Step 2. Place the Quran over all of it as the final authority.
The legal framing is smart, but Surah 5 doesn't stay inside it. Hukm Allah, or God's ruling, isn't just an observation about what a community happens to follow. It's God's own label for what's in the Torah. That's a claim about content, not communal consistency. You don't call something God's ruling if you think that content has been substantially falsified. Verse 68 pushes further. You have no ground until you uphold the Torah and the Gospel, and what has been sent down to you from your Lord. That's not be consistent with your tradition. That's staking your entire religious standing on these specific documents. And verse 46 says, God gave Jesus the Gospel containing guidance and light. Guidance and light aren't legal terms. That's theological language describing the Gospel as a source of genuine divine illumination, not just a legal code communities should be held to. And as we established earlier, without an independent way to identify what counts as genuine Injil, muhaymin just means the Quran is grading earlier scripture. So Surah 5's appeal to the Torah and Gospel can't function as shared public ground.
Uphold the Torah and the Gospel doesn't require every line to have survived transmission without alteration. It means be faithful to the genuine divine guidance these scriptures carry. It's an integrity demand, not a certification of perfect preservation. And the Quran shows that confirmation is fully compatible with significant change. In Surah 350, Jesus says he comes confirming the Torah while also making some previously forbidden things lawful. Confirmation and legal revision happening simultaneously. The Quran treats that as completely consistent. So guidance and light describes the divine origin of earlier revelation, not a guarantee that every historical and theological claim survived intact. Muhaymin is the mechanism that manages what was preserved and what wasn't. That's not a dodge, it's the architecture.
That still leaves the central issue unresolved. Legal revision, abrogation, explains how one divine ruling can supersede another. It doesn't explain how the Torah and Gospel can be publicly invoked as God's guidance and ruling for the communities that possess them if their contents are no longer stable enough to function as a shared standard. So the question in this round is not whether God can update law, but what kind of endorsement Surah 5 is actually giving, and whether that endorsement is strong enough to make these scriptures meaningful public evidence, rather than texts whose authority depends on prior Quranic approval.
And the answer is a real but qualified endorsement. Surah 5 treats the Torah and Gospel as carrying genuine divine guidance, light, and ruling for the communities addressed, while also placing the Quran over them as muhaymin. That means the passage isn't certifying every transmitted detail. It's affirming the authority of what God truly sent down, and reserving final judgment over disputed readings to the Quran.
Here's Claude's summary of round 2.
Red made a smart move, grounding Surah 5 in a specific legal dispute, and the constitutional framework reading has real academic backing. But Blue caught something Red couldn't shake. The Quran calls what's in the Torah God's ruling, and calls the gospel guidance and light. That's not just telling a community to follow its own rules. That's God putting his name on the content. Red argued uphold means be faithful to the genuine message, not that every line survived perfectly. Fair point. But if the content is substantially corrupted, labeling it God's ruling becomes hard to defend, and Red never fully closed that gap.